In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe, leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
Great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome back to another Room to Breathe podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so grateful that you are here with us today. Our guest today is a woman who's walking in her truth boldly and beautifully. She's a writer, a truth teller, and a survivor who's finally giving herself and others permission to speak. She's currently working on a powerful 2-book series titled Unresolved Issues, where she opens up about various unhealed traumas. And, these are stories that have shaped her journey and how she's leaning towards the healing and doing so out loud. But I'm not going to tell her story for her because today she's standing in her power and speaking up for herself. I want you to help me welcome the amazing Unique Cre8ion. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, sis. How's it going today?
It is amazing. I've got zero complaints today, okay?
That's good because it wouldn't change anything anyway if you even told me one of them.
I know that's right. We welcome you to the Room to Breathe podcast. I am so honored to hold space with you today.
Thank you for holding me. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, absolutely. I want to give you this opportunity to take a moment to introduce yourself to our listeners. Tell them, who you are, what you do, and, what message you're here to share with the world today.
Okay. Well, I go by the name Unique Cre8ion and plenty other names, but for this reason, I'm talking about Unique Cre8ion. Unique Cre8ion actually started off as a creative business selling t-shirts, handmade items, but it kind of evolved into more helping uplift people to get the uniqueness up out of themselves and quit hiding behind the mask, to come from behind the mask. Because I hid behind the mask for many, many, many years. And so God has created me to be the unique person that I am today. So I have, what is that saying? They say that you're a master in many, many in trade, but a master of few, whatever. But I think I'm a master in everything that I do. And so I write, I dance, I uplift. It's what I spend most of my time doing is just making sure that I minister to women mostly, where I try to get them to get the diamond, the roughness up out of them, because we see ourselves as rough, but we don't see the diamond because diamonds are uncut from the rough, it comes from the rough. And so to get them to identify who they are and accept who they are and not allow societies to shape them what society thinks that they should be, but they be their unique creation who God created them to be. And that's who I am. It's just somebody who been through some things and has now conquer those things, and now on top of, I wouldn't say the world quite yet, but I'm getting there.
Yeah. Listen, that's walking in your purpose at its finest, girl. I love that for you. And it's a beautiful thing when you get to not only figure out, the things in your life, but then you get to turn around and share that with others and to empower and motivate other people. I think that is just a gift and a blessing, because not everyone is willing to share their story as a means of, trying to help someone else. So I applaud you for that.
Right.
I'm proud of you for that, because I know it's not, it's not easy. Doing your own healing and trying to be, a beacon of light for someone else, knowing that we still go through our darkness too. So
right, it's all about becoming naked, And I know we don't like to use the word naked, but it's like even today I have to become naked in order for you have to expose yourself sometime in order
Yeah,
to receive the healing that you need. Just like going to the doctor's office, you don't want to go in there and get naked in front of the doctor, but you have to get naked in order to expose what's going on, medically with yourself. And so I'm
absolutely.
looking at it emotionally. Expose yourself naked, get naked, so that you can help someone else, and not only yourself, but you helping someone else down this journey that we call life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Our vulnerability, that like there's such healing in our vulnerability,
Yes.
right? Our
Yes.
transparency when we show up unapologetically and just speak our truth. There's like healing power in that. And
Yes.
people
Yes.
underestimate that power because they're looking for what they can see. And because a person can't see
Mm-hmm.
your healing all the time, they mistake it. But when you
Yes.
just show up being vulnerable and just who you are, and you're like, you know what, yeah, this happened. Okay, it happened. And it's like, okay, well, it happened. Now what? Like,
Yeah.
now we
Now what? Yes. You
I
say it
love
also nonchalant, because it's not like you said, and I say it that way sometimes too. It's not like I'm being like not sympathetic, but
yeah,
it's like, oh well, let's get on up and let's move on past this. Let's
that
keep
forward.
moving.
Like, we can sit and talk about the past all day, but what do they say? There's 2 days you can't control, yesterday and tomorrow. So we
And
got to live for
tomorrow, that's
today. What
right.
we gonna do?
Yes, yes.
So, Unique, I want to start by talking about your book because I love the title, Unresolved Issues. I feel
Hmm.
like the title alone speaks volumes. Um,
Yes.
what does that phrase mean to you personally, and why was it important that you name your work Unresolved Issues?
Okay.
'Cause I feel like it's so intentional.
Okay, so unresolved issue came about because I have issues. I'm not gonna talk about anyone else. I'm gonna talk about myself personally because I can speak on myself. So I have issues, and that's the first problem that we need to admit that I have an issue, and this issue that I'm having need to get fixed. So it's unresolved. So this issue keep eating at me, but if I don't do anything about this issue, problems start spiraling. So things starts happening because of this unresolved issue that I did not take care of. And so I admit that I have an issue. I admit that I have a problem. Okay, it's not been resolved. The solution has not come for the issue that I'm having. So now what do I do? Let me face this issue that has not been resolved in my life yet in order for me to advance in life. And so that's where the title came about, unresolved issues, that hey, there's a problem.
Yeah,
Houston, we got a problem. But so now Unique, you got a problem. You need to get this fixed in order for you to advance and go where God is taking you to. Yeah.
yeah. It's so crazy how we spend so much time trying to ignore the past, like ignoring our trauma. And it's like, I think that we've been conditioned over the years to just
Mhm.
sweep those things under the rug. It's like, okay, like get over, like people tell you to get
Yeah.
over it. Like,
Get
so,
over it. Yeah. Yeah.
and so now we're all walking around with unhealed trauma. If it's because you didn't get enough love, or like, just it
Hmm.
honestly doesn't even matter. Like, every single person has some sort of unresolved trauma.
And like
And
you say, it's we've been taught to, sweep it. No, it's okay. Don't cry. The first thing they tell you, don't cry. Be a big girl. Be strong. And so you don't never deal with it because in my mind, it's already been embedded in me. Be strong. Don't cry. It's gonna be okay. And like you say, that big word, get over it.
yeah,
That's so like, how can I get over this? This is something I have to deal with. I can't solve 36 divided by 6 and just let it sit there. I need to figure out how do I get the answer to that equation. So now I need to figure out how do I get the answer to the issue in my own personal life.
right,
Yep, instead of just letting it sit there,
exactly,
unsolved, and continue to go
exactly,
skip that problem and go on to the next one. And now I had another problem added on to this problem because I
exactly.
never did. I can't go to the next step until I take this step, go back a step to fix that issue. Yeah.
Right, right. It's funny. I always think when you say that, it makes me think about being in school, and in math class you had to show your work.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can have the right answer, but if you don't show your work, you don't get
Exactly.
nothing.
They
So
don't do that nowadays in school though. They don't have to show their work in
yeah,
easy math. Yeah.
that's why we got the problems that we got. But that's a whole nother podcast. We'll talk about these kids not knowing how to write in
Yeah.
cursive. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Um,
we had to show our work before we could, even though I might knew the answer in my
right.
head. I can see the answer. But oh, that goes back. So I can see how I can get. I know my goal. I can see my goal.
Yeah.
But how do I get to that goal?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It makes you appreciate it more too when you get
Yeah.
there. And that's the thing about, just the healing journey, period. You know
Hmm.
that the grass is greener on the other side. But before you get to that green grass, you have to learn to appreciate everything that comes with it. Which
Yes.
sometimes you have to step in the mud, and sometimes it's hot, and sometimes it's rainy, and you never know what you're going to get to. But having that end goal is great, but like you have to appreciate the journey. But
Yeah.
understand that the journey's not always highs. There are going to be some lows in there too, but we just got to kind of take, what do they say,
Exactly.
the bitter with the sweet. Um,
Exactly.
so
And
yeah.
and also with unresolved issue, it's just not the issue might then start with me. That issue may be generational.
Mm,
And so it just goes from one generation to the next generation. My mama did it this way. My grandmother did it this way. And so now that issue has now become my issue because it didn't get dealt with three generations back.
right.
And
Yeah.
so that's an unresolved issue. It's
Yeah.
just that, yeah, it may not be starting with me. It
Right.
started back with my great grandmother, my great great grandmother. So it's unresolved until one of us in this generation, face the issue and let's get this issue resolved. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your early journey.
Mhm,
You've shared that, there was a point where you just lost your voice as a child, not,
mhm,
just physically, but emotionally. Can you
mhm.
walk us through, what that experience looked like or felt like for you, and how that silence shaped your identity growing up?
Okay, yes. As a child, I grew up in a home where what goes on in this house stays in this house, and you knew better not to
Right.
say anything, no matter how, as I heard somebody say, as scared you was.
Right, right.
You
Quiet.
better learn how to shut your mouth, and you learn how to use the word phrase. I'm fine, I'm good, I'm great, even when you're not fine, even when you're not great. You learn how to put the smile on your face before you leave that house. After your mother get done whooping you and she's like, now straighten your face up. And you're like, how can I straighten my face up when you beating the crap up out of me?
Right.
but, but you
Right.
learn how to straighten your face up before you go out into the public. So I became the best Hollywood starter was. I learned how to lie so good that even I didn't know if I was telling the truth at some point in time
Mm,
because because of the abuse that I was going in the house. Because I grew up in a very abusive home. And so you just didn't. I just never knew when, because it was my stepfather. My stepfather beat my mom, and then he would just call us all kinds of names, but a child of God or by our first name. We was every name, curse name that there could be, but I had to learn how to not talk. And not talking is how I got to not say what was going on in my household. So I learned to be quiet. I taught myself how to be quiet. And so if people who went to school with me see me today, they would be like, who is this person that's talking? Because I
yeah.
didn't talk. I did not talk in class. I was afraid to talk because I knew if I talked, I might slip and say something that was going on in the household. And so I became very timid. But I was like screaming on the inside, hoping that maybe if my face expression could say something or my body actions could say something, maybe somebody would know that I'm hurting and that I need help. But I think even with the body, I started getting control of my body because then that's when I took up dancing. I took up dancing. I was a majorette, and so I found these different outlets so that my mouth wouldn't speak with the situations and the problems because I was more afraid. I was more afraid what would happen in my household than I was afraid of God. And it's like, no, this household is more. I was put more power in there about
Yeah.
what was going on. But then when I began to say, I didn't get my voice until I was grown. I mean, grown is when I finally got my voice. Because even as an adult, as I was maturing into adulthood, people were still silencing me because I find myself hanging out with people who were just chatty boxes. And as
Mhm.
long as they was chatty, I didn't have to talk. All I had to do was listen. So I'm a great listener. I have trained myself to be a great listener.
Yeah.
But to listen, so I started hanging out with other people that I knew would talk. And if they talked, I didn't have to share my pain. I didn't have to share what I was going through. I didn't have to share what I was hiding. I had got my good mask on,
Yeah.
and and as soon as I exit the door, I put my mask on, I put my smile on, and I knew how, because some people can read your eyes, and so I had to
Mhm.
train my eyes to look happy, even in the time when I wasn't happy. I had to train my eyes to look like I wasn't in pain, even though I was experiencing pain on the inside. So I taught myself how to be silent throughout the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely relate with that. In sharing my story, I've, said plenty of times, there was a point where 7-year-old me stopped breathing. It's like, when someone scares you, you hurry up and,
Hmm.
well, I felt like from 7 until at some point into my adulthood, I held my breath. And, it's pretty hard to navigate life when you can't breathe. But you
Yes.
learn how to do it. Like you said, you learn which mask to wear and what to say or what not to say, and who to hang around to take the attention off of yourself.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
know, we become experts at dimming our light, uh,
Yes.
because we are afraid at some point to just let that shine. And
Yeah.
it's definitely one of those things where I feel like too many of us can relate to what you just
Yes.
said. um, and it's something that many of us don't even realize that we're carrying, that
Hmm.
burden, that trauma, all of that weight, because we've gotten so good over the years pretending. As kids,
Yes.
we have
Yes.
played dress up, and make believe, and we didn't created these fairy tales in our mind, through until our adulthood, and then all of a sudden, it's like at some point in your life, the veil just comes off, and
Hmm.
now we're just here like adulting, you know,
And
trying to
now what? It's like,
do all of it.
who is this? What I do now?
Yeah,
Who is this person? Who is this
absolutely.
individual? I don't know her. I
Yeah,
don't know her.
yeah, and like I said, it's especially it's especially disheartening within our community, because I think many
Hmm.
of us in the BIPOC community, we are taught to be strong. Like you said,
Yeah.
suppress your feelings, keep moving, shake it off. And so, at an early age, like you said, we're taught to wear this brave face.
Yeah.
Um, and basically, we're just kind of conditioned on how to be, because historically our family cares more about that external validation than what's actually happened.
Hmm. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and so, I'm curious, how did that brave face culture affect your healing process or your ability to even express what you were really going through?
I believe it delayed any success in my life, because there was a bunch of fears. Because I was had this fear of success, being successful. Because if I got into public's eye, then I'm becoming open. I'm becoming naked before the public's eye. So I kept hiding. I didn't want to be in front of no cameras. I didn't want to be in front of no audience. But I just felt like God just kept pushing me forward. It's like, no, I don't want to be. Because then now people ask me questions. I don't get asked questions. I do the question asking, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
because I know if people ask me questions, then it's going to come down where I have to say some things that I didn't want to say. So it delayed my progress in life. I say it delayed, and like this book should have been out. This book should have been out years ago.
yeah,
But because of that fear of success, that fear of becoming naked, the fear of, oh, what people are going to think, what people are going to say. Oh, I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to hurt, anybody by what I say. So yeah, to be that strong, then you don't have that weak moment. You can never be weak. You always have to be strong
Yeah.
in the public side. You always got to be strong in church. You always got to be strong wherever you go. And so it brought, like, at some point in time, I had this really bad perfectionist, being a perfectionist, where I was so hard on even on my own self. I remember one time in high school, I had an A minus, and I'm crying. I'm
Yeah.
crying over A minus. And my brother who was excited about getting a D if he got a D in one of his class. And I'm
Right.
sitting here crying. I'm sitting here crying because I got an A minus, and he looking at me like, "What is your problem? You got an A minus." But I'm like, "It's not an A plus," because I had been like shaped into this perfect. Like I had to be perfect in every single thing, and so that carried on into my adult life. Everything had to be perfect, and then if it wasn't perfect, here comes depression. Here come the suicidal thoughts because it wasn't perfect. And now there's a flaw on the inside of me because that wasn't perfect. And so have been shaped in, the black community, the household that I was in, everything got to be smooth. Every I got to be dotted, every T got to be crossed. And
Yeah.
so when it's not, now I'm broken. I had that sense that, oh, you broken.
Yeah.
You're not worthy. You're not perfect. And I still struggle. I'm not gonna lie. I still struggle with that perfectionist some days, but I'm better with it. But yeah, I was very depressed. And that's another thing, you can't be in the black community. You cannot struggle with depression because now you're delulu, as they say, or you're a lunatic. And it's not that I'm delulu or a lunatic. I'm just not myself right now.
Yeah.
And so you can talk about the depression. Like I can talk about the times where I attempted to kill myself a couple of times. I couldn't talk about those things. I had to keep those things hidden because, of course, you're strong. You're a strong individual. You have to
Right.
be strong. And me being the eldest, I had to be 100 times stronger than the siblings that followed behind me. So that was really tough on me. And so it delayed my success process, I would say. It caused some delay in that area. And then it caused, like I said, the depressed, where when you become like a walking depressed person, nobody knows that you're depressed because you
Yeah.
have your smile on your face. You have the joy, it look like you got joy. You're
Right.
still doing the things that you was doing, but when you go home, it's just like you're living in the dark. You're living in the dark, and you don't want nobody to come into your home because you don't want them to see the imperfection. You don't want them to see the weak you. Yeah.
Absolutely. I always said, I don't know if you ever got into the Walking Dead series, but everybody's familiar with it. And basically, there's a point where, something happens and people, the dead, are literally
Mm-hmm.
just walking through life. They have no feelings. They have no concept of anything. They are literally just literally walking. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so many of us are the Walking Dead because
Yeah.
we have so much trauma and so much pain and frustration and heartache just built up inside of us, but we are operating off of like muscle memory. Like we're on
Yeah.
autopilot.
Yeah.
We're just
Yeah.
living. Everybody's like, good morning. Hi, I'm good. How are you? I'm good. And it's just so fake. And then you have somebody
Mm-hmm.
who breaks out and you're like, how you doing today? And you're just expecting them to say, I'm good. And they're like, well, I'm not doing good. And then when they say that, you're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude,
Like, get away from me, you cootie person.
are you crazy? Like, why would you tell the truth? Like, I ain't asking you all that. But that's the thing where we have to really begin to normalize, especially in the BIPOC community, because, like you said, you know, we are expected to be a certain way. Like, we already have so many expectations placed on us
Mm-hmm.
to be better, because of what we've gone through historically. We grew up
Yeah.
knowing that we had to get better grades. We had to
Yeah.
act better in public. And it don't matter what your little friends do. You have to
Yeah.
because my name, you carry my name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You out there in them streets. Don't go out there and act like you don't got sense. You know what I mean? Point where even if you were out and a neighbor saw you, they're like, we don't do that. I'm like, what do you mean we don't do that? My friends are doing it, you know, and you're like, no, we don't do that. And I'm like, so because I'm Black, I gotta be better? Like,
yeah.
Now I just want to go do, you know, hood rat stuff with my friends. But it, you know, it pretending, I guess, not to feel. I mean, obviously, it doesn't mean that it's not there, but eventually, I feel like it just demands to be felt, right? Like
it does.
You can do at some point that pot is going to boil over.
Oh yeah.
And at that point, you know, for a lot of people, that's why people have like these midlife crises or these emotional breaks, because, you know, you can only pretend for so long.
Exactly.
You know, eventually that script that you've created is going to run out. And then you're going to, you know, it's going to be like all lights on you, and people are going to be like, so what's next? And
now
like,
what?
Don't
now
know
what? Yeah.
What to do. You mentioned. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just agreeing. Yeah, because there was a season where it just seemed like I didn't know, and because you expected to always have the answer. Always have the answer. You're the go-to person where people come and they expect you to have the answer. And there was just that time I was like, I don't know. That is my answer. I don't know.
Right.
And the feeling that you get for not knowing, because you always knew. You always had the next step. You always had it, but it's like, I honestly don't know. You're like, and they look at you like, what do you mean by you don't know?
Right. Like, you don't know. Like, yeah, that's not nothing. They got nothing for you. You know?
I don't know.
Like, and that's okay. That's okay. There was a point where you mentioned feeling like nobody wanted to hear your story. And so you had stopped telling it, you know, stopped trying to tell it really altogether. What was the moment, or maybe it was a series of moments, that made you say, you know what, I do have something to say and I do deserve to be heard? Like, what did that look like?
You know what, that moment actually is closer than farther, because it took years. Like in January of this year, I had a fall. I had an accident. In that accident, I ended up losing my front teeth. So I have partials in my mouth. In that moment, as I laid on the ground, nobody came to help. Nobody came to help me get up. Even when I was walking in the streets, blood coming everywhere. Nobody stopped to see if I was okay. No one stopped to see. And I fell, this is the kicker, I fell in front of a church. I'm knocking on the church. Nobody opened the door to even let me in. Nobody. And in that moment, I just felt like, you do so much for so many people. You're always there for so many people.
Yeah.
And nobody is there for you when I needed that help as I was laying on that ground. Yeah. Of course, when I started calling around to people, I got, you know, the one person gave me this, I come and help, but didn't really want to help.
Right.
But,
right.
But in that moment, I realized that it doesn't matter whether somebody's there with you or somebody's not with you. And it's like, God, you always here for me, no matter what I'm going through. You always here. And so you have given me this voice. You have given me this purpose. For whatever reason it is, you have given me this purpose. You've been telling me to come from behind the behind the curtain, come from behind the camera, and come up front. Yeah. And so it took me toothless.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, if this is what it takes, I don't tell anybody else. You don't want to lose your front teeth to be walking in obedience to what God is calling you to do.
Exactly.
Just walk in obedience.
That's
What if somebody dare not just walk in obedience and
right.
keep your front teeth, you know?
They tell you, listen, they say here throw stones, and if you ain't paying attention, them stones get bigger. And my good sister had her knock her down out of nowhere.
Out of
True.
nowhere. And so in that moment, and so after I went, I'm not gonna lie, I went through that depressed season because I'm looking like I can't be opening my mouth now. I ain't got front teeth.
Right.
All these emotion
Right.
comes to you. Your image, you thinking about your image, you thinking about your smile. How am I supposed to talk?
Right.
How's people gonna listen to me? And I ain't even got teeth in my toothpaste. I call it my toothpaste. I don't have toothpaste.
Right.
And so God would start sending individuals,
Hmm.
true individuals in my life during that season that helped me get through that season where depression really tried to overtake me. And this was in January. And as I was on delay, as I call it, on delay in my healing process from my tooth, God spoke to me about trauma and unresolved trauma that I need. Because that's a trauma, that's a traumatic issue, falling and hitting your face head first on the concrete. It's a trauma. So he started dealing with me by my own undealt with trauma. Even though I had been through went to see shrinks, even though I went to see the professionals, but
Hmm.
it was that fall back in January that I picked up my pen, I picked up my paper, and I began to focus on me and to focus on my writing and to focus even on my TikTok page. It's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I had to take courage when that day he told me to still get in front of the camera,
Yeah.
missing teeth and all, still get in front of the camera. And so it took boldness and it took me to be courageous. And from that moment that I was like, I got something that someone in this world need to hear, need to see. Not only myself need to be healed, but I need to push forward so that someone else, it's not about me, but
Yeah.
it's about some other young girl, some other woman, grown woman with a little girl on the inside of her that need to be healed. And come to
Absolutely.
find out, it's not just about women, it's also about men. Because men don't talk like women do. Men hold their trauma inside more than the women hold their trauma
Yeah.
on the inside. And so
Absolutely.
my voice is just not for the women, it's also the voice for that little boy who needs to cry out and don't know how to cry out. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's so interesting because you literally had a fall, right? You literally fell
Yes.
down. And so you had no
I got
choice
the teeth,
but
missing teeth.
like you literally had to take a stand, and
Yes.
I know that you love the Room to Breathe song. I'm taking my
Yes.
stand, right?
Yes.
So that's why I kind of chuckled a little more even as you're telling the story because I'm like, I can see why my sis love this song now because she ready
Yes.
to stand up.
Yes.
I'm going to play a little snippet of the song before we get into it
Okay.
because I know this has kind of become a little anthem for you. So we'll
Yes.
let the listeners hear a little bit of it as we continue here. Um, and then I'm going to ask you a little bit about, why or
Okay.
how this is with
I've walked through the fire, felt the burn inside my soul. Every tear that I cried took a piece, made me whole. Shattered dreams and broken wings, trying to steal my light. But I'm finding strength in the dark, turning pain into flight. I'm healing piece by piece, rising from the ashes, finding my release. I'm mending every scar, embracing who I am. From broken to beautiful, I'm taking my stand. In the mirror I see a warrior, battles etched in skin. Every line tells a story of where I've been.
even as I listen to this, it's so funny to me because I'm the one who wrote the song, but
You wrote it for me, girl. You wrote it
Exactly.
exactly for me for
Clearly,
this
I wrote
time.
this song
Yes.
for you. And this song was out before you endured what you went through in
Uh-huh.
January alone. But it is really your story. It is my story. It is so many
Hmm.
people's story out there. Um, and that's why I do what I do. You know what I mean? But for you, I know you connected deeply with the song. What about the
Yes.
song's message resonated to you? Like, was it a particular lyric or emotion? Like, what was it about the song that spoke to you the most?
Well, the whole song spoke to me, but there was this part in the song where it say every fall. Sometimes I be mishearing the words, and so if I make them up myself, you can correct me.
Go ahead,
But
make them
there's
up,
a part
girl.
that say every fall, every bruise made me stronger than before. Now I know my worth. I won't settle anymore. With every step, I'm closer to the love I deserve. I'm reclaiming my power. I'm ready to serve. And that stood out to me because, like you said, I had that fall. I literally had a fall and I had to get back up. I could have stayed down, just like I could have stayed on that ground and walk and just like, woe is me. Or
Yeah,
I got back up and say, you know what? It is what it is.
yeah,
Let's move forward from here. And to know that I did not know my worth. I did not. I mean, I was the girl who was crying over A minus because I didn't know my worth. I was the girl who was constantly looking for love that I was not receiving, and so I was just settling. I was just settling for love. But now I am taking my stand because I know my worth and I'm moving forward. Every scar, every bruise that I go, every bruise because I've been in an abusive relationship. So I had bruises. I had physical bruises. I have emotional bruises. But
yeah.
all of those bruises is making me stronger than I was before. And so now I
Absolutely,
know my worth. And so now that I know my worth, it's hard for me to settle for just any old thing because I know my worth.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
listen, you embody that song. You take it. You got the words right. You know what I mean? But and like I said, that's why I decided to make the music. Initially, it wasn't even about the music and all of that. It was me wanting music for the podcast. I
Hmm.
just wanted to create music to use for the podcast. And then it just kind of evolved when I realized I could actually do life coaching through music. I could share my story and I can open my journals and give my testimony, but through music, and not even have to worry about singing or, anything like that. I just want to create the music for people. And
Hmm.
so, it is for us to be able to, hold space for moments just like you experienced. Um,
Yes.
and it's one of our gifts, like a lot of times people say, we all have these gifts, we all have these talents, but
Hmm.
we don't necessarily know what to do with it or why. So we're constantly
Exactly.
questioning, like, why do you want me to do that? Because I'm telling you, when God put it on me to do this music, I was like, but I can't sing. Like, why would you ask me to do that? And it's like, oh, okay, but you can write, like, keep writing.
Hmm.
And then I happened to mention it to my business coach, and she's like, oh, well, you can use AI to help. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, God, I see you. I see what you did right there. You told me just write the song. I'll tell you
Uh-huh.
the song. Um, but again, that's just the beauty of, again, that obedience, that you being
Yes.
disciplined enough to
Yes.
just kind of walk in it, because we don't always know what it looks like. I had
Mm-mm.
no idea. If you would have told me a year ago that I would be making music, let alone have like 8 albums out, I would have told you were crazy. You know?
Congratulations on that too, by the way. Yeah, that's a lot.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank
that's a lot
you.
of work, girl. Eight
Yes,
albums. That's a
and
lot of work.
I'm not going to downplay it and say that it's not, but I will say, because I'm being obedient and because I truly believe that I'm walking in my purpose,
Hmm.
that it's easy, because I'm doing it for a bigger purpose. So it's like, it
Hmm.
definitely takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of discipline and obedience, and there are some sleepless nights that come with it. But
Mm-hmm.
because I'm operating not for like worldly things, like I'm not looking for, the applause here. I'm just
Yes.
trying to secure my seat up there. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
to do. I'm like, okay,
That
I'm
just benefit if it comes with something else while I'm here on Earth, but it's a good
exactly,
benefit. Yeah.
exactly. Like it's a bonus when I
Yes.
hear everybody else's applause, or that's a bonus. But knowing that
Hmm.
I'm creating something um, that is actually helping the world, one person at a time, and some
Yes.
people try to downplay that. But at the end
Yes.
of the day, if I helped one person, I did my big one, you know,
That's it.
and
You help me. You help me. Yeah.
exactly, I'm winning.
Yeah.
Y'all heard it here first, y'all. I'm winning because I helped my business.
You help me. Yes.
But yeah, but that's definitely why we, with the whole Room to Breathe project, it's to hold space for moments like this. Um, and I think this is a good time too to kind of talk about, your process, because you now have this gift. You've been tasked to write this book. Uh,
Yes.
and so, there's again, a level of vulnerability that has to
Hmm.
come with, sharing a story, whether it's a personal story, someone else's story, whatever it is. There's a vulnerability, when we create this work of art, be it the music,
Hmm.
the book, whatever it is. And that's no small feat. Um,
Exactly.
and so writing a book about trauma, like I said, be it yours or someone else's, that
Hmm.
takes a whole different kind of courage.
Hmm.
And I know firsthand because, again, my songs are directly from my journal. Like, so
Hmm.
when I put those albums out, I'm like, oh my God, people are going to know that I went through this. Like, people are going to judge me, So it definitely
Uh-huh.
takes a different kind of courage. Um, if you had to think, and I know that your, book is still a work in progress, but if
Yes.
you were to think of a particular chapter or moment, just any moment within, unresolved
I was
issues,
out this. Uh-huh.
yeah, has been the hardest for you to write.
Okay. So I'm gonna take it back a little bit before unresolved issue. I actually been writing since I was a little girl because that's what I did to because I had nobody to talk to. I had no one to talk to but my pen and paper. So I would write short stories when I was a little girl.
Mhm.
But of course, you don't have to be short those short stories because I didn't want nobody to find the short story and know my secrets. And so when I began writing Unresolved Issue, I think I began writing it in 2021,
Okay.
back in 2021. But it just sat. Unresolved Issue, then some other books. And like you, there's songs that I have written. And there was even a play that I have written, but it's been in hiding because I
Yeah.
didn't want to expose what was going on, what I had experienced. I didn't want to expose the molestation. I didn't want to expose the rape because now people are looking at you like, ooh, like you some type of diseased person, but you was violated. You didn't want to expose that you the one that's been violated, so they take you from being the victim to being like almost like the predator. Like I
Right.
didn't want to feel like I was the predator. I was the victim in that situation. So I kept those things secret. So but as I picked up Unresolved Issue again after my fall this year, I picked it back up. And the hardest chapter to me is when the main character, her name is Abani. Abani is which is a Yoruba name that means the girl we prayed for.
Mm.
And so she now she's coming to tell her, she's telling her husband about, because she didn't even tell her husband that she had been violated in her past. So she's telling her husband, and at the same time her parents is in town visiting, and her mother is the only one that knew about the violation. Her father didn't even know that she had been violated.
Mm.
So at the same time she's telling her husband, her father is also finding this out. And see, that was hard for me to write because my father was not in my life growing up. Like I didn't get to know my dad until I was grown.
Mm.
And so to tell a story, to have that little girl tell her story. I was like, my dad, even to this day, don't know that I was molested by one of my uncles. He doesn't know that I was raped. And so it's like me telling this story to a man that's supposed to be there to secure, to be my safety net, to be the one to protect me. He wasn't there. But in the story, this man wasn't allowed to be there
Yeah.
in because the mother kept it a secret. So I think at some point in time, there was an issue that happened in my life. But one time, I remember I was preteen or 13, where I was getting ready to go visit my dad. I was so happy getting ready to go visit him, get the chance to spend the summer with him. But my summer was spent, you wouldn't believe this, my summer was spent chopping cotton. I was working in the cotton fields as a little girl. I was working in the cotton fields, as a teenager. And so here I am thinking, oh, I'm going to get a break from working in these cotton fields. I get a
Right.
break to go to go meet this man that's supposed, that's my dad. But
Right.
he drives up. He drives up to come pick me up. Him and his wife, my stepmom. They come to pick me up, and my mom tells me to tell him that I don't want to go. But it's like, but I want to go.
Right.
But she said, no, you tell him that you don't want to go. So I had to go and lie to my dad that day. That day, and tell him that I didn't want to go. And for after that, it's like he never tried again. He never tried to come and, to get me. And so that brought back that memory as I'm writing that my dad could have had that opportunity to be there to protect me,
Right.
but wasn't allowed to. And so that was the hardest part in this book writing is that when Ebony's father finds out that she had been violated in her past, that he wasn't allowed that opportunity to protect her or to be there for her because that secret was kept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much tied to that because ultimately it sounds like, the mom, like we could look at it, we could dissect that so many ways, because the mom was probably doing what she thought was right.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
maybe she could have just been who knows, right?
Uh-huh.
The dad, now this is stolen from him, and clearly there's going to be some issue with him because he's going to feel like less than a
Yeah.
man for not being able to protect his
No,
family.
exactly.
The
Exactly.
deceit or the betrayal coming from your wife, you know what I mean, like all of these things. And yeah, it's very easy for the victim to all of a sudden become the martyr, to become
Yeah.
the predator in these situations, which
Exactly.
again makes us not even want to speak up. We're like, just never mind,
Just
like
never mind. Yeah.
I survived, never mind, like
This is causing even more issues.
that's why I say I'm okay.
Yeah.
There's too much that comes with it.
Oh, yes.
And so, I mean, like, even dealing with all of this, how did you I guess protect or care for your mental and emotional well-being while writing? Because even when we do, works of fiction,
Hmm.
it there's still a level of trauma that it can kind of unlock. Like I said, even when we're not telling our own story, sometimes telling someone else's story still kind of brings things up for us. So what,
Exactly.
sort of self-care things did you do to protect your peace mentally and emotionally while writing it?
To protect my peace doing this, I tightened up my circle. Like I didn't allow any and everybody into my circle.
Hmm.
And then I had what I call him my male best friend. Like he was there, like even from the fall. He's been there from the fall and
Hmm.
uplift and encourage me. Like I can call him at whatever time of the night and just talk, just to be able to talk. And
Yeah.
so, like, we would have these phone calls, and he'd be like, "Okay, you go ahead and cry. You go ahead and do whatever you need to do. But after this call, after you get your cry out, we're gonna dry our eyes, and we're gonna, move forward from here on out." And
Yeah.
so, like, he had, uh, like, been my rock in this season, just to somebody that non-judgmental talking. I can just go and say whatever I wanted to say, how I wanted it to say, scream if I needed to, and he was just non-judging throughout the process. And then I started working back out, started exercising, uh, uh, then telling jokes. I tell
Yeah.
jokes to myself because I'm still not brave enough to put the comedy skits out there yet. I still
Yeah.
haven't got that brave yet.
It's
But
coming,
just
y'all. That's all I
yeah,
hear. It's coming. Stay tuned. As my sis peels, listen, she gonna start to peel back all these layers, and we're
yeah.
like, girl.
You want to see the comedy skits, yeah. And so just comedy, finding those things to laugh at, even that stupid stuff, just what we may call stupid stuff, but just laughing.
Yeah.
Laughing is really good medication. It's really good medication. But don't laugh at nobody else if you can't laugh at yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
I laugh at myself all the time, and I be like, God, I know you up there laughing at me too, so I'm laughing, I'm laughing at myself. So yeah,
Right.
just and then writing, and then just having that one person that you can go to and talk about everything, and they not judge you or
Yeah.
hold it against you, or not bring it back up again. Like you talk,
Yeah.
you get it off your chest. Like I have this one sister. By the way, I have 4 sisters and 4 brothers. So I
Okay.
have a total of 8 siblings, but I'm the only child. Like my dad came and planted a seed in my mama's garden, and he moved on and planted seeds elsewhere.
Mm.
But uh, her and I one time we talked for 9 hours,
Mm.
and to find out that she experienced some of the same things that I experienced.
Mm.
But you can grow up in the same household and not know what the next sibling is going through if you don't talk about it. And
Absolutely.
so to have those outlets where not only you are able to talk, but you might have to have that person talk as well. But it's not like a woe is me type of conversation. It's
Right.
more, okay, iron sharpen iron.
Yeah.
It's like those iron sharpening iron conversations. And so you allow those times, you set aside those times. If it's 2 hours, like her and I, it was 9 hours. We was on the phone nonstop, 9 hours talking, and just to be able to get off, to cry, to do whatever you need to do, and knowing that once you got off that phone, that those tears brought healing, those the laughing brought healing, those things brought healing, and such a freedom to you. So just finding that quality time. I did spa treatments. I created my own spa treatments. And
Yeah.
then I had a couple of sisters that I call sisters in Christ. They treated me, to spa. They treated to me to ice cream or whatever it is. You finding those sisterhood, in the black community. That's one thing we don't have enough of. We don't have sisterhoods enough in the black community because we are raised to compete against one another, to judge one another,
Right.
to look down on each other. So finding that sisterhood, finding that one person that you can confide in about every single thing, the good, the bad, the nasty,
Right. All of it.
yeah, all of it, and they not judge you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I love that because I honestly believe that the more we start to name it, you know what I mean? The more we start to talk about it, the sooner we can take our power back.
Mhm. Yes.
And it is very important for us to cultivate safe spaces. And
Yes.
again, many of us grew up in very toxic, traumatic households. And so we know, we're wise enough to understand that our household should have been that source of healing, but
Hmm.
we understand that it's not. And there becomes a point where we have to stop running back to the people who hurt us to heal
Amen.
because
Amen.
they it's like, why would you run back into the fire when you know that it was hot and you just got burnt? Like,
Exactly.
so at some point you have to break that cycle, and so we have to begin to cultivate safe spaces. That's
Amen.
how, when I did the self-care club, that's how it came about. I wanted to create a space for me to show up and just to unapologetically be myself, to speak my truth, not be judged. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times in our community, when we do speak up, it's weaponized against us.
Yes.
So the moment
Yes.
we say I'm not okay, then the next thing you know, you hear somebody else saying, "Girl, she ain't okay.
Uh-huh.
She's going through this, and did you know that she did that?" And then, of course, we already suffer with imposter syndrome. So it's like we out
Hmm.
here already thinking that we're less than, and we're not good enough, and we're not worthy. And then when we say we feel less than worthy, then all of a sudden people attack us and tell us we're not worthy. It's like a very vicious cycle. And so, I'm glad that you began to cultivate those spaces for yourself. And, that's the beauty of us creating the family. Like I call it our soul family, our soul tribe. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yes, we're born into families and we share DNA and names with people. And that's great and that's amazing. But we also have to understand that sometimes those are the people who hurt us the most. Mm-hmm. And God wanted us to then go out and create more bonds. And, so they say like, love thy neighbor, things like that. Like you should go out there and create more bonds. And I always think it's funny. I feel like we bring this up all the time where people always say blood is thicker than water. But they don't realize, like you never understood that was just a part of the phrase. Like the whole thing, I think is, oh goodness, now I'm going to forget it. I should know this by heart now. Is it blood? The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, or
I never heard that. I never heard that before. Yeah, so when they say blood is thicker than water, they've abridged it because it's actually the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. And so basically it's telling you the family that you have chosen is thicker and stronger than the water of the womb, which is the ones you come from. And so, when you think about that, I'm like, see, they didn't like the truth. And so they twisted it to make it seem like something else. And, it's just crazy because I'm like, I've always felt a connection to my chosen family over my, biological family. Yeah. And so, I think that, the more we go out here and cultivate these safe spaces and create places where people can show up unapologetically and, not turn around and use it, to hurt them, and where we don't feel like we have to compete. That's really how we start to take our power back, and they're not gonna like it. They don't like that when you disrupt that, but it is something that's definitely necessary to our healing. And I know that. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I know that there's somebody who's gonna listen to this, and they're gonna definitely need to hear this, especially this next part, because I got a question for you, girl.
Okay, go ahead.
Because like me, you're using your voice to advocate for others, and you are making it a point, like you are very intentionally using your voice to give a voice to the voiceless, because you know what it feels like to be on both sides of this, So what would you say to someone listening right now who's convinced that their story doesn't matter or that it's too late for them to heal?
What I would say is that for one, there's a saying that says it's never too late to begin again. It's never too late to start again. As my grandmother, who lived to be 98 years old, she died in 2020. And she will always say that as long as she has air in her lungs, that there is purpose for her on this earth. And so as long as you got air in your lungs, there is purpose for you on this earth. And people are going to, try to get you to shut up. And they want you to shut up because they don't want to deal with their own issues. They don't want to face their own problems. And because your very presence can challenge somebody. Your very presence can challenge them. And because it's challenging them, is that, no, I don't want to deal with that. And so that may not be the person. That may not be the group that you need to, because they're not ready. They're not ready. They're not ready to face their issues, their unresolved issues. They're not ready. But there is somebody out there, even if it's just one person, God has somebody out there that he wants you, your voice to hear, to minister to. And as long as you're doing that one, like Jesus said, he'll leave the 99 to come for the one. Just like Jesus will leave 99 other sheep to come for you, you can lead that 99 other individuals to deal with that one person who needs to hear your story. Because we're not here to save the world. We're here to just to share to share our voice. And that one individual, no matter what that individual might be, maybe I'm in America and that individual may be in Alaska, is still America, that it might be in Greenland, might be
Right.
in Greenland, but they need to hear your story. So become naked. Become emotionally naked, not physically, because you might get arrested for being physically naked. But
No
but to
indecent
become
exposure.
naked, to become naked for one person, that's all you need to think about is that one person. Even if that one person is yourself in the beginning, you need to do it for yourself. Yeah,
Absolutely. Come
yeah,
on, truth teller. You better tell.
yeah.
And the thing I think people really also need to realize is that, healing doesn't just change your life, it changes how you show up in life.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and that's, again, that's just the beauty of it. It doesn't just, it's not going to shift the world around you. It's just going to shift how you show up in the world.
Hmm.
And then, we have to be the good that we want to see in the world. So once we begin healing ourselves and now we show up, instead of being a hurt person hurting people, right? We show up being a hurt person who is now healing and
Hmm.
is intentionally choosing to help other people heal. And
Exactly,
that's how we change the world. Um,
exactly.
as a woman of color who's reclaiming her voice, you are literally disrupting generational silence now.
Hmm.
How
Hmm.
has speaking your truth changed how you show up in your relationships, with your creativity, and in just your overall daily life?
Well, I'm still working on relationship, girls, honestly. Because
It's a
now that you know your worth, you don't
yeah,
settle for anything. That's not just in a dating relationship, but that's also in friendship and businesses. In
yeah,
every relationship, you evaluate every relationship because now you know your worth. So now somebody can give you, there's Chick-fil-A and then there's Mickey D's. Now everybody can give you that little it used to be 99 cents, but now I think that McChicken is $2.19 now. I
right,
don't know. Yeah, but still, it's still not a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. So
right.
you don't accept that 2.19 from somebody now because you know your worth, you know your value, and so you're gonna go for the best in everything. You're gonna go for. You don't settle. I'm working for the best. I'm gonna do the best, and even when I'm creating, I look for the best. I
Yeah,
don't take like somebody who don't care about work or somebody who don't care about your work and they just want you to just put anything out there. Nope, this got to be the best.
exactly.
It's got to be the best.
Absolutely.
So my creativity, I don't just settle even in my creativity. If it's, I'm not looking for a profession no more because I got, I'm working on being noticing the little bitty things. Oh, that bass is off center. Let me go back and record this whole video because the
Right.
bass in the back of my background is not right.
Okay.
So I'm not picking like little petty stuff like that, but I'm still putting out good quality videos and putting out the best quality work is what I'm doing in everything. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got one last question for you before we wrap
Okay.
up. And I want you to be able to take your time and again speak directly to, the person who's listening to this, the one who's still hiding behind their smile, the person
Hmm.
who's still choking on their silence. Right
Hmm.
now, if there's somebody listening who's still stuck in their silence, they're wearing the mask, they're smiling through the pain, and they're carrying all of their trauma in isolation, just like you once did.
Hmm.
If you could speak directly to them right now to close us out, what would you say?
Hmm. You're missing out on so much. I
Mhm.
started a not for profit business and it was called From Ashes to Beauty, from A to B. From A to B, and the A to B stood for Ashes to Beauty. So from A to B, uh, but because I didn't have the confidence or I didn't have the self worth, I didn't know who I was, I didn't think I was worthy enough, and that fear And this From Ashes to Beauty was for a group of young ladies from fourth grade to 12th grade, uh, teaching them how to be themselves creatively. So I was teaching them life skills. I was going to teach them life skills. I was going to because I didn't step out in it.
Yes.
Teach them life skills on how to even balance a checkbook, how to work on your credit score, doing all of these things, and then teaching them how to cook because a lot of our young ladies don't even know how to prepare a meal, how to boil water.
Right.
Teaching them how to be creative in those things. So then, in one portion, it was going to be, since I had the t-shirt business, I was going to have a t-shirt pin business, and then I do seamstress work. So there's going to be sewing machines and teaching them how, just giving them these life skills, which is not so much of a life skill anymore.
Right.
But because I did not know my worth, but because I didn't believe in myself, because I was still dealing with the shame and guilt. I don't know why I had guilt because I didn't do it to myself, but I had guilt. I had this guilt and this shame, and I didn't move forward with it. And
Mm.
so if you are stuck right now, just like I took that fall for you. I lost my teeth for somebody like you. You got it in you. Silence the noise. Even if you have to walk in this season by yourself, silence the noise. Get to know who you are, what you like, what you don't like, and stop building yourself for somebody else because I was building myself for somebody else. I stepped back. I had quit my job at one time to go help a quote unquote who somebody I thought was a friend start their own business. I financially, mentally, emotionally, physically helped them start their own business while putting my dream in the trash basically. So if you don't do that, years gonna go by, 2 years, 10 years,
Yeah.
20 years, and before you know it, you be laying on your deathbed with all of these regrets, with all of those regrets. So start today, and moving forward, pushing forward because you can do all things. You got it in you. If God has given you that vision, that means that He's already qualified you to carry that dream out, to carry that vision out. So believe in yourself because God already does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's healing right there, sis.
Yeah.
Like, I thank you for being with us today, being so honest, so bold, and really, so willing to take your stand, and speak your truth out loud. Let everyone know how they can connect with you if they want to reach out, to your social media, your website. Let us know so that way, they know how to reach you.
Yeah, girl, I'm still building on the social media thing. Right now, I'm only on TikTok. I was on IG, but I haven't did IG or Facebook in a while because I was kind of like boycotting them for a while because they was always tagging, they was always alerting my stuff, and uh, like you can't post this, you can't post that. It's like what? I'm not even showing my body, but I can't post this. And so right now I'm only on TikTok. My TikTok page is Unique Creation. Yeah,
Gotcha. And I'm going to go ahead and pin it up here for you guys. Let me make sure I spell this right.
Unique Creation. Yeah, Cre8ion.
And girl, I put the T in every time. Every time. Okay, y'all. Let me see if I get this right. There we
Yeah,
go.
that's it.
All right, y'all. Y'all connect with my girl on TikTok. You will love it. Y'all gonna know when you find her because she gonna tell you hello to all my brothers and my sister.
Yeah. Hello. I love you. Your sister girl. Hold on, I gotta say it right. Your sister girl here. I love you. God loves you. And you and I, we gonna be all right.
Absolutely. We gonna be all right, y'all.
We gonna
Now
be
you
all
guys
right,
listen.
guys.
Before we go, I want to leave you guys with this. You were never meant to carry it alone. I want you all to understand that your voice is sacred, that your story is valid, and that your healing is your birthright. As always, I encourage everyone to keep breathing, stay positive, and to remember that you will always be supported here at the Self Care Club. So don't be afraid to take up space and make a little room for you to breathe. I love each and every one of you to life. I pray that you all have an amazing day on purpose, filled with nothing but purpose. And head over to our website at selfcareclub.org. There you could check out our affirmative apparel, motivational merch, and all the free resources that we've designed to help you walk into your healing journey proudly. Now, to close out today's episode and just to give us a little more space to reflect, we're going to play the full version of I'm Taking My Stand by Room2Breathe. Let these words sit in your spirit. Let them move you, hold you, and remind you that you are not alone.
I've walked through the fire, felt the burn inside my soul. Every tear that I cried took a piece, made me whole. Shattered dreams and broken wings, trying to steal my life. But I'm finding strength in the dark, turning pain into flight. I'm healing, piece by piece, rising from the ashes, finding my release. I'm mending every scar, embracing who I am. From broken to beautiful, I'm taking my stand. In the mirror I see a warrior, battles etched in skin. Every line tells a story of where I've been. Lost and found the journey through the stormy night. Now I'm walking tall with my heart open wide. I'm healing, piece by piece, rising from the ashes, finding my release. I'm mending every scar, embracing who I am. From broken to beautiful, I'm taking my stand in my soul. Every fall, every bruise made me stronger than before. Now I know my worth won't settle anymore. With each step, I'm closer to the love I deserve. Reclaiming my power, I am ready to serve. I'm healing, piece by piece, rising from the ashes, finding my release. I'm mending every scar, embracing who I am. From broken to beautiful, I'm taking my stand. I am healing, I am whole, I am whole. Finding peace within my soul. From the darkness I will rise, with my heart open wide, reaching for the skies. In the mirror I see a warrior, battles etched in skin. Every line tells a story of where I've been. Lost and found, a journey through the stormy night. Now I'm walking tall with my heart open wide. I'm taking my stand. I